Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the School of Science. My name is Luke, and as you can tell from the sound of my voice, this is the post-match for Everton versus Southampton. Everton 3, Southampton 1. Now, this game was something else. Not just the fact of the performance we put in, but the fact that this was my first game back to Goodison in over a decade. I've been in New Zealand for 10 years, and this has been one of the things I've missed the absolute most about the UK, is going to the football matches and just watching Everton play. This has been something I miss so badly. It's all well and good watching on a TV, but just going to a live game is just another level altogether. And I'm pretty sure everyone who was back at that game today will agree with me that just seeing them up close in person and watching them play is just an infinite times better than watching them on a screen. So, with that out the way, let's get into the game. Now, Everton in the first half were shaky. They were basically end of the season Ancelotti against Man City quality. We were just not putting our 100% in. When we played, we gave Southampton way too much respect. We held back so badly that it was actually a little bit painful to watch. We didn't push up as much as we should. We weren't taking the risks of doing long balls. We weren't bringing it out wide. Everything was around the central midfield and the centre backs, and Southampton clicked onto this way too quickly, and they capitalised on that as much as possible. Now, the only clean shot one of the only clean shots they got of the game came in an error from us. Michael Keane and Mason Holgate, in that game, they pretty much were surrounded by Southampton players the instant they got the ball. And I felt sorry for them, but in all fairness, the first goal was a complete Everton blunder. Michael Keane got the ball. He tried to turn and try and lose the people that were marking him to get it clear of his feet and try and get it sent back down the field via maybe Mason Holgate or Jordan Pickford. But he had fluffed the ball when he was bringing it back, and Armstrong just completely capitalised on it and put it in the net and punished us really badly with that one. And pretty much from there, it was pretty much Southampton's game for a good while. They hold the majority of the possession. They were keeping it. They were playing pretty much a game of keep away from us for a good period of that game, where they were just trying to keep it in between their men, and they were pretty much doing box to box with it. And it really did mess with the Everton players. Now, as the game sort of ticked on and progressed, we did have chances. Townsend had a good few runs. Demarai Gray had a bit of a quiet game, but whenever he was involved in the game, he really played well. He ran his absolute heart out. Likewise with Townsend, likewise with quite a few of the players. Alan was unfortunate not to put one in the back of the net. And as a whole, the first half, granted it was not great, but it was not the absolute worst I've seen. I've seen much worse from Everton. And we were unfortunate not to put one in the net through Calvert-Lewin. So, brilliant cross came through, and I thought Calvert-Lewin had put it right in the back of the net. I was ready to jump up for joy. But unfortunately, it glanced wide, and I think from there, it pretty much just showed that Everton needed to do some work when it came to half-time. So when half-time came, they knew that the fans were not happy. The boos that rang around that field were quite eerie. So Benitez, I don't know 100% what he said to them, but he really did give them a right motivation. He did a little bit of a switch around. He had Demarai Gray playing as the left wing and Townsend playing as the right wing on the second half. So Demarai Gray was playing inside of the field. He was playing as almost like a James Rodriguez sort of role. But he was brought to the left. Richarlison was brought upfield, and Abdoulaye Doucouré came in place. He got brought upfield and was playing more as the box-to-box sort of midfielder. And that was a much better formation that we played. And just pretty much from the word go, it was 1,000 times better. The players were doing a lot more fluent playing. They were going upfield a lot more. They were doing a lot more long balls where we could try and capitalise and exploit the hole in Southampton's defence. And within a couple of minutes, we tied the game up. Richarlison scoring a nice little blast into the underside of the top of the goal. And it was just from there, it became Everton's game as the minutes ticked on. We were getting more of the possession. We were keeping it mostly in their half. I would say there's probably about, 10 to 15 minutes of the second half where they were in our half all together, and the rest of it was in theirs. It was just constantly in theirs. We kept pushing at them. We kept moving the ball. We kept using the width. We kept trying to exploit holes. And shortly afterwards, through a really, really good Iwobi. I feel weird saying this. Iwobi actually had a good game today. He came on as a sub for Andros Townsend, and he did well. He linked up decently with Seamus Coleman, and he passed off a ball to Abdoulaye Doucouré, which ended up being an absolute world-class shot. So Abdoulaye Doucouré was pretty much back at goal. He had a defender either side of him, and he was able to turn both of them and knock it into the back corner of that net, and it was an absolute gem of a goal. Goodison absolutely rocked when that went in. Not only for the fact that we were gone in front, but the ball that was in that net, the shot that went through was just otherworldly. And I was absolutely delighted to see him score in front of a full house at Goodison. The sounds must have been absolutely electric for him, and I could not have been any happier for the guy. You could see in his eyes the joy that he felt when he scored that goal, and he went to the fans to celebrate with them. So pretty much from there, Doucouré, I think he's going to be a very crucial point in our squad this season. I think having him alongside someone like Rodriguez, that's going to open up a lot more in terms of attacking dynamic. And I am really looking forward to seeing the next game. Hopefully, we're going to have the likes of Ben Godfrey back. We're going to have the likes of John-Philip Gbamin and James Rodriguez. I really need to see those guys on the field. So, come on, let's get those guys back. And I'm really looking forward to that. In regards to the third goal, that was another cracking little goal. So, great cross come through, and Calvert-Lewin got himself literally a couple of feet off the ground and heads it in. It was a Dave Hickson goal from what I've seen. I've seen old footage of Dave Hickson where he would literally be yay far from the floor, heading right by opposition's feet. Granted, there was no opposition near Calvert-Lewin. He was left open. But the height he was and the accuracy that he put into that net was something else. And that is the reason why this is the icon for this video. The height he was at and the header that he got in was something else, and I was absolutely delighted to see him put one in the net. But yeah, guys, as a whole, it was a really good game. Pickford had a quiet one. The centre-backs has a bit of a nightmare, but they held strong. They did all right. Mason Holgate, he had his hot and cold moments. Likewise with Michael Keane. Seamus Coleman, I hate to say this, he is still a brilliant, brilliant player and a brilliant, brilliant captain, but his age is starting to show. He made a couple of blunders and had a couple of slip-ups, but as a whole, he had a brilliant game. Luca Dean had a bit of a quiet one. Any opportunities that he had were great. He really did move the ball upfield. He tried to put a few through passes through to Richarlison in the first half and did the same for Demarai Gray in the second half. But as a whole, he was a bit quiet in that front. Alan, not too bad. He played really well. He was unfortunate not to score. But as a whole, he had a solid game. Gave away a few silly free kicks, but he did well. He really did do well. Doucouré, absolutely stunner of a goal. He was up and down that field like a bat out of hell, doing everything he could, and his distribution was on point today. In regards to Andros Townsend, He did well. He really did do well. You could tell he was a new player and he was still trying to get the rhythm and the sync of how Everton play and how Everton tick. But any opportunities that he had, he did try and take, and it was just, I could feel his frustration in the first half when he was putting crosses through and it was essentially just to Calvert-Lewin and no one else. So as a whole, as the season develops, I can't wait to see him sort of become melded with the squad. In regards to Demarai Gray, first half I felt like he was a little bit out of position. He was sitting in, I cannot believe someone's just done that. Okay. But yeah, in regards to Demarai Gray, the sitting in the central midfield role as the creative point, I felt like it was a wasted talent there. He did everything he could. He did get a few good little through kicks and everything, and he was able to bring the ball out and put it to Townsend, which brought on the great cross to the glancing head of Calvert-Lewin in the first half. As a whole, though, I think he's more adequate as our left winger. Richarlison, when he was playing the left wing role, he seemed a little bit off the boil. It looked like he was trying to sort of, resync himself with the Everton squads. Being at the Copa America and at the Olympics, he was more used to different styles of play, so he was just trying to bring himself back into that frequency of the Everton, style of play. And when it came to the second half and playing as the more like a striker rather than a winger, he looked more at home. And when he got that nice little rocket into the undersides of the top of the net, he was delighted. I could see the joy in his eyes. He really does thrive off the fans being there. So I can see him getting 10 to 15 this season. Definitely getting 10 to 15. Calvert-Lewin, I feel like he needs to have another person in the box to sort of try and, drag defenders away from him so that he can be the open lingering point. And when crosses or shots come in, he can be at the end of it and redirect it into the net. So in regards to his game today, he did great. He really did do great. He took his chances and he did try his best. So in that regard, the team as a whole, they did well in the second half. They weren't great. I would say, if I was to base it on the two halves, I would give them a 4 in the first half and an 8 in the second half. First half, they seemed like they were just not clicking. They were like an out of sync gear system. They were grinding and they weren't really connecting. But when they come in, they were like a well-oiled machine. There was brilliant passing, brilliant distribution, and some smacking shots. And you know what? If they can put that second half performance, if they could keep that rhythm right the way through the season, I would say they would definitely be punching for Europe. I would not say they will be punching for the Champions League as of yet. They still have a couple of steps to go, and we still need some pace in the squad as a whole for us to start reaching for the Champions League spot. But I can definitely see us getting into Europa League if we play that second half all the way through to the remainder of the season. Now, still very, very early days. We've still got transfers that are going to be coming in and going out. So if we're able to get a nice young hungry right back to go into the position and hopefully get them sort of bled into the squad, let Seamus Coleman carry on for now for what he's doing, because he's doing a good job captaining and trying to dictate the play to what Rafa wants. But once we get a little bit more younger bloods into that squad and we get them into there, I would like to see Seamus Coleman becoming more as like a super sub. Have them playing 60, 70 minutes and then he comes on and he makes his impact at the rest of it. Something like that would be really nice to see. But yeah, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I'm sorry if my throat's a little bit hoarse. There was a lot of singing, there was a lot of jeering, there was a lot of chanting, and there was a lot of screaming. So my throat is absolutely ruined. I feel like I'm back at the Birchall's Pints sort of moment here. But yeah, if you like this video, give it a good old thumbs up. It just shows me you like what I'm doing and you want to see more of it. Also, if you want to suggest something, if you want to suggest maybe me doing like little shorter videos here, there and everywhere, Like if I go to, like with the next home game, I'm going to definitely be getting a ticket for the next home game. If you want me to put up like little YouTube shorts and whatnot of, you know, going to the game, getting all the crowds where they're going down, you know, like Bullen's Roads and around Glasgow Street and everything, I'm more than happy to do so. Also, if you just want a compliment, I really appreciate the compliments in the comment section, guys. It really does help me through the day when I'm doing a lot of this stuff, and it really does act like a really serious motivator. Also, if you are, you know, new to the channel and you've just discovered this through the grapevine somewhere, there's a little red subscribe button. If you like this video, why not hit that as well? That just means that, you know, as the channel grows, we're able to get more content out there. As I said, I'm basically a one-man band when I'm doing all this. So I work the camera, I'm doing the lighting, I'm doing the acting, I'm doing the voicing, I'm doing the writing, I'm doing the directing, producing, I'm operating the social media, I'm doing all this sort of stuff. I do all of this throughout my day. And I've got template for the likes of this. It's got a template. I've got a template for all this sort of stuff. So this isn't too hard, but getting everything set up and everything, that is a challenge in of its own right. So as the channel grows, I will probably look at start bringing more people in who can help me with other aspects of it. You know, getting the social media, getting people to try and manage the social media and get that going a little bit more, getting people working on the templates. So we'll bring these up to another level. And also just people to help me, you know, getting all this set up in the future. Because once I get to the new property, we're going to have like a dedicated set to all this. And I am seriously looking forward. So tomorrow, actually, that's something I need to mention. Patreon. If you are part of my Patreon, I would like to thank you very much. So the likes of CT Baz here, thank you so much for carrying on with the Patreon, you know, being continuous support. I really appreciate it. And people on the Patreon will get to see what the new property looks like right now. Well, not right now, tomorrow or today. Depends on when this comes out. You're going to be seeing what the area is going to be like. So you're going to see the room where we're going to have the little studio set and how it's going to look. Where there's going to be a little couch, you know. You're going to see me on a couch. I mean, in the previous Bramley Moore video, if you look at that, and you see me sitting on the couch. It's not going to be a couch like that one, but you're going to see me on the couch. I'm going to be in a more relaxed position where I'm going to be talking like this, you know, like it's going to be a more casual-esque, but it's going to be able to allow my conversation to flow freely. And as the channel grows, I'm going to be bringing people in. I'm going to try and get people who have got, you know, like influence in regards to football as a whole or to Everton or other teams. So let's say, for argument's sake, the Merseyside derby, for argument's sake. What I would do is I would probably get someone from another team, like get a Liverpool fan, bring him in, and we're going to bounce back and forth as the pre-match. So I'm going to talk Everton, he's going to talk Liverpool, and we'll bounce back and forth off each other. And I feel that would be the sort of content that you guys would really, really enjoy, just because it's going to have banter, we're going to be able to talk, we're going to actually have a back and forth, we'll argue, we'll have laughs and jokes and everything, and it'll bring a little bit more life, because doing this as a one-man band, it has got its challenges. So I'm trying to right now feed content off you guys whilst being in an office on my own, or well, being in a room on my own. So if you follow the Patreon, you're going to see the new office, you're going to see everything that's going to be coming in the future. And again, I'd like to thank CT Baz for your continued support, mate. You are a brilliant Patreon. Anytime I put content up, you're liking it, you're putting your feedback in, and it's, you know, it's like genuine feedback. Like you're able to express your opinion, and I really appreciate that, because that does help me put things out there. So if you want to be like CT Baz and you get your name in there, seriously guys, go onto the Patreon and do the £3 a month pledge. There's a £1 a month pledge there. That's just essentially the cup of coffee pledge. But the £3 a month is how you get yourself on this list and you're able to interact with me. Because honestly, it helps so much. Even if it's only £3 a month, it does help, because as the channel grows, as more patrons go into there and we build from there, I'm going to be able to dedicate more time to this. We'll be able to put more effort into it, and I'm able to bring more people in to help build this channel into something brilliant. And I want to make it a channel dedicated to Evertonians. So with that rant over and with everything said and done, I'd like to thank you all again so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. The next video is going to be the pre-match for Everton versus Leeds, and I cannot wait to see Everton at Ellen Road, because Leeds, they had an absolute howler of a game against Manchester United. So stay tuned for that one. I can't wait to get it out to you. Peace.